Hi, I'm Glenn Kubish. This is a reVerb Communications podcast we call The Message Gets Through. It's a bi-weekly-ish gathering of some of the crack colleagues at reVerb Communications where we spend 10 minutes or so talking about communications that hit the mark. Could be anything. This episode, it's Roberta Farian on
Met Gala 2026.
Jennifer Villeneuve takes a look at
50 years of rumors.
And I've got some thoughts on a thank you note from another time. Roberta, get us out of the chute. What message got through for you and what can communications types learn?
So there are messages on messages with this one. But yesterday, Anna Wintour unveiled the theme for the 2026 Met Gala, which is it's the Super Bowl for women. I love it. And this year's theme is costume art. And so the idea, from what I gather, this is very much open to interpretation, is that they're displaying works of art and kind of the costumes that are pulled out of it. And, what message does the costume convey? And that's kind of the whole idea behind the Met and specifically the Met Gala. And I think it's a theme. It's not my favorite one, but I think that we will see some interesting costumes grace the red carpet, and I'm curious to see how people take it.
And is this Anna Wintour's last Met Gala?
I don't know. She's stepped away from Vogue, but this is her baby.
I seem to remember that Blake Lively did something that sounds like costume art a couple of years ago when she wore a Versace maybe dress that looked like the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, she's iconic. She's one of the fan favorites. And so I think she was a host that year. So she was working very closely with the designer that made her gown. But you'll see, they haven't announced the hosts yet. I know the Bezoses, yeah, they are attached to it. They're one of the big supporters, but they haven't named any creative directors so far. But in the past, you look forward to people like Rihanna, the Olsen twins, although they never commit to the theme. They do their own thing. They are works of art and they know it. So I'm excited to see if they attend. And yeah, Blake Lively, obviously, she's another big one.
I can see Nicole Kidman being the big one this year.
Ooh, that's a good take. Say more.
I'm just saying she's fresh out of a divorce with Keith Urban. She's kind of making her way around the fashion scene right now. I think she's going to be everywhere, and I think she's going to be a big deal this
year.
I
love about her is I know she'll work with a female designer because she has all of these films with female directors. She practices what she preaches. I think, we can look forward to something creative and beautiful and breathtaking from her.
Is this Ma'am Danny's New York?
I feel like the
Why
costume
is this still relevant?
That's a good question.
Why does the Met still...
It's escapism, and I think art doesn't always have to be decadent. I think art is something that comes from the time, and it is usually understood through later interpretation, and you have to give credit where it's due. Fashion is a big part of saying with where we're at as a society, and you have to recognize the significance of that. That is the message.
Where are we at as a society? What does the Met tell you?
Ooh, recession dressing. I'm excited to see what that... It's going to be a Gilded Age type thing, where you have these elaborate costumes that are maybe hiding what's really going on underneath. We're having this last kick at the can as they're printing a ton of money and things are radically shifting in politics, but I think no matter what, it's going to be interesting.
Very nice. Jen, you're up next. Chapter 2 is yours. What do you got? What are you bringing? You're going into the past, eh?
I'm going into the past. So I brought something from my collection. It's a must-have for any record collector. Rumors by Fleetwood Mac. And I'm bringing it up today because there's rumors that the remaining members of Fleetwood Mac are in talks for a big 50-year celebration of the album Rumors in 2027.
Are they actually in talks, or are they in passive-aggressive singing to each other about the whole event?
Right? And so that's sort of why I wanted to bring this up, because Fleetwood Mac have their own version of communication. So obviously the songs from Rumors are popular. The sound is amazing. The lyrics are amazing, but it's almost the legend or the folklore behind the making of the album that kind of stands the test of time. The group was basically in the midst of these numerous breakups. So Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham had just broken up. John and Christine McVie were going through a divorce. Mick Fleetwood was going through a divorce. And so collectively they wrote these songs, which became Rumors. And over the years, they've stayed popular. They've stayed in the mainstream. And then a few years ago, there was a resurgence in social media using Fleetwood Mac's music. So you think about the Ocean Spray video on YouTube with
On
the
the
guy on the
skateboard.
skateboard, and sort of introduced Fleetwood Mac to a new generation. And right now, the most popular song is the song that didn't make it onto the Rumors album, which is Silver Springs. And so if you go on to Instagram, I'm sure TikTok, although I'm not on TikTok, there's a video clip from 1997. Fleetwood Mac had done a reunion concert and filmed it called The Dance. And so there's a clip of Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham singing this song that Stevie Nicks had wrote about their breakup. And they are just staring each other down.
Awesome. That's so good.
And so, and it's just played over and over, and thanks to social media, it's shared, it's gone viral, and people are making comments like, this is my Roman Empire. I make my kids watch this, that sort of thing. And so I thought about back in 1997, you would have seen the video maybe on TV or something and been like, that was awkward, and just kind of moved on with your life.
Yeah.
But thanks to social media and YouTube being able to play the clip over and over and share it and comment and analyze it, it's just kind of taken on a life of its own.
It's such an enduring theme. Like, every generation is going to be able to watch that clip and be like, man, I would kind of like to just look someone in the eyes and let them know exactly how they made me feel. And I think there's something about that. I can see why. I don't think this album is ever going away. I think it's a true classic in that sense.
It is a song, and I'm talking about Silver Springs. Mm-hmm. It's my favorite Fleetwood Mac song. I've discovered it, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, that was my first impression of it too. It's so pretty.
There's a shot where the three of them. There's a three shot where Lindsay's singing in the foreground, and Stevie's in the middle, and Christine's and they're singing harmony, and they're singing harmony to this song that's about a horrible event in their lives, which is, I think, a great accomplishment of art. It makes you look and stay with and abide with the truth of terrible things. But artists somehow make you want to not look away. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I feel guilty about, like, I think I'm staring at a car crash when I'm watching the two of them talk, but that's not what that song is. It's no. They've reached another level of art. They are so in it, I think, for the art.
I get that, because I like the car crash analogy, because when you're watching something like that, it's like, man, you're gawking. But when you're listening to these guys, it's not gawking. It's like, man, you've had this little invitation to look into a very intimate part of someone's life in a very beautiful way. Yeah. And it's something that you can probably identify with, but it is something they are personally going through. And there's just something really beautiful about being a part of that too.
Yeah. I think what's also that sort of added to Fleetwood Mac's longevity is there's some bands where they're elusive and they don't want to be public. They don't want anyone to know
White
what's
Stripes,
going
I think
on.
of Jack and Meg White.
Right?
Like,
Are
they were so
married,
ambiguous, and then it turns out that it's a relationship, but it didn't work out.
Right. But from the very beginning, especially Stevie Nicks, she's very forthcoming in interviews.
Well, they're the best situationship. And speaking of situationships, let's talk about your and Sheila's dinner. Just kidding, they're a very loving relationship.
Sheila and I were out in Vancouver recently, and we went out for dinner at a place we like. It's called Joe Fortes. It's a seafood restaurant off Robson. And we had a really nice meal. The vibe was great, happened in place, great server. Sheila even filled out the after dinner survey.
Oh.
Which I never do, but she sometimes does. I didn't think anything of it until we got home, and soon after we got home.
Is this like a written survey? Sorry?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There was a letter in our mailbox, a handwritten, actual postage stamped envelope from Joe Fortes. And I thought, what did we leave behind? What did we forget?
Right.
It was a thank you card.
Yeah.
And the old-fashionedness, the handwriting theme continued. The card someone had written, I presume it was our server, Dear Sheila, and then there was a printed note. The card said, Dear Sheila, thank you for dining with us. It was a pleasure to serve you. I hope you had a great experience at Joe Fortes, and I look forward to seeing you again. Sincerely, Nihat. It was a touching gesture, I have to admit. It kind of stopped me.
Yeah. I'm almost assured that you will see him again. I'm inclined to
where
go
am I
back.
Where am I going to
You're
go
gonna
for
have
a
to.
dinner when we
He
next
knows
go
where
to
you live.
Vancouver? But
That's the thing. He knows where you live.
a lot of, I don't know what percentage, but I'm sure we're a typical home that 80 plus 90% of what comes in the mail gets tossed. But this not only didn't get tossed, I kept it around. I couldn't quite throw out a handwritten note
Yeah.
that someone had sent, even though I didn't know that person. And I know this is a tactic that's tied to a customer relationship management tool of some kind, but I still think that they got it right.
Yeah, it exercised effort that they had to do. Like, yeah, sure, it's a marketing gimmick, but it's sentimental. It reminded you of a nice dinner you had, I'm sure. Like, there's something about that.
And I took some time to think about it, and that's what I came up with was that they took the time. There was some time taken. It wasn't the printer. It was somebody writing Dear Sheila, and they spelled her name properly.
Right.
That's true. It's not easy.
Shelagh.
Yeah.
They got it right. They didn't take a guess, or they didn't, close their eyes. Like.
I bet it was at least 3 cards they had to write before they got it, because I've tried writing her name, and I'm like, this is not muscle memory.
There's a great line from the Gaslight Anthem, a song called Handwritten. And there's an image there about writing by the moon, and everything is handwritten, and the image is from heart to limb to pen. And I thought that was a nice reminder of how, when it's done right, technology is the technology of the pen or pencil.
I bet Brian Fallon would tear up if he went to a restaurant and got a handwritten note. I actually think he'd write a song about it.
Or get a tattoo.
Right, yeah.
But that reminder that technology can be an extension of who we are and not something foreign to who we are. And so I think about the process of that person writing Dear Sheila, and I'm kind of touched by it. So, okay, that's a wrap. Okay. Let's keep the notes of thanks going. Thanks to both of you for being here today. Thank
you, Glenn.
Thanks to Stevie and Lindsay. Thanks to Anna Wintour. Thanks to Nihat from Joe Fortes. And thanks to all of you for watching. We'll see you next time in a couple weeks-ish or so on The Message Gets Through.